Something that I've noticed as I go to school every day, which happens to be quite a really competitive and academic environment, is that within that, the creme de la creme, the best students there, the ones that are really getting the top grades, don't do normal studying or use the traditional ways of studying and learning that school might have taught you. And this might be obvious to you. Well, nowadays, someone who gets 100% is obviously going to do something different to someone who gets 60%. But then knowing that, you can start to copy the actions of those who do get the 100%. Because the only real difference between a top student and one that isn't is in their actions and the systems that they set and follow. Because you can comment genetic diff as much as you want, but studies time and time again, and in my experience, all reveal that it really is just comes down to the actions that make the difference. Because in case you haven't met before, I'm Steven, also known as J-Spark, and right now having the privilege of going to one of the top schools in my country, and also within that getting one of the best results in the whole year, I was able to observe, see and try myself gate-kept study hacks that top students are doing. And so here are some of the main ones, which after this video you can copy and do all for yourself. So thank me later and you're welcome. Wink. Chapter 1. Marking bands, the secret sauce. Did you know that literally the blueprint on how to ace any exam can all be found online? And the one thing that I found all top students really love and use are mark schemes. And for good reason, because for subjects such as maths, sciences and question-based subjects, these mark schemes literally tell you how to answer any question perfectly. Because that's what a mark scheme does. It's what the examiner is going to be using to mark the very exam that you sit for that exam. And so it's a no-brainer when it comes to using the mark scheme to revise for these subjects. But I also found that for essay-based subjects such as history or English, mark schemes can be even more arguably valuable. Because take a look at this. This is for the GCSE English essay. And essay mark schemes are in bands and they tell you how to write a top band answer, a level 5 answer. So by using this, you can make sure that you're doing all the things that are required to hit those high band marks. For example, you can see the cohesive evaluation structure, good use of examples are all things that they're looking out for. And if you do those, you're going to be placed in the top bands. Make sure you're highlighting both similarities and differences, etc, etc. But the interesting thing is that top students use these mark schemes for essay-based subjects, but they always look at the lower bands as well. For example, a level 1 or level 2 band. Because obviously you need to be doing the stuff in the level 5 band to get there. But you can also conversely avoid doing the things in the lower bands to avoid yourself being dropped down into those lower marks. So going through, for example, for this specific essay, you will know that by looking at the bands 1 and 2, that you shouldn't just use descriptive language. Rather, being evaluative and doing evaluation is a really key takeaway that you can take just by skimming over the mark scheme, which only takes a couple of minutes. A lot of mark schemes even have exemplar and sample essays so that you can copy the structure and see where the marker has given it credit. Mark schemes are your best friends, and since examiners will be literally using this to mark your work, take time to look at them by all of your subjects and learn and know these inside out. Chapter 2. Routines. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, talks about how having a routine for studying is really crucial in building that habit. For example, Michael Phelps, who was a gold medal farmer in the Olympics, is said to always have listened to this one specific song, stretch this way, that way, and then walk with left foot, right foot, and he always had this specific routine that he followed before a big competition. So I found that top students actually do this a lot, and one of the ways that a lot of them did it was by listening to music. When they listened to non-lyrical music and they just put the headphones on, that was a cue for their brain to start studying because they joined that action of listening to music to studying. And so if you also want these benefits, an easy way to do this is by checking out Opera, the kind sponsors of this video. Opera has teamed up with Spotify to bring you your favorite tunes anywhere, anytime, and to control your music from Opera's integrated music player right here in the sidebar. It even detaches and it lets you seamlessly get browsing or studying done while listening to the music you like. My personal favorite was Chopin. This means you can create your own study playlist while listening without ads, so you get zero interruption and you can stay locked in. Listen in the order that you like, and you can even download the music so you can listen anywhere. So don't miss out on this opportunity, as Opera is offering 3 months free of Spotify Premium when you download Opera browser and you open up the sidebar. This offer varies by country. And some of these other features that Opera offer are also great for students, as the video pop-up feature lets you detach your videos and move them anywhere over other windows, which has been a lifesaver when it comes to making notes while watching videos. You can customize your browser to match your vibe, choose between classic, aurora or midsummer, and you can adjust colors, animation, sounds all to your liking, just so you can have your perfect studies environment. Check out Opera browser with the first link in the description. But anyway, back to the video. The third chapter is the Zeigarnik effect and space repetition. This is the one thing that top students literally abuse. And if you really look closely at your school and the top students there, you'll see them do this as well. The Zeigarnik effect suggests that students who suspend their studies to perform unrelated activities, such as studying a completely different subject or playing a game or an instrument, will remember material better than students who complete study sessions without taking a break. And this is a study done, as you can see. So basically, when you just sit down and study for hours upon hours, that's not learning, because learning and knowledge absorption actually happen when you let yourself forget some of the things you learn, and then you can see how much you remember. It's kind of like a sieve. You can only see how much of it has stuck after you let the stuff fall through the sieve and see what's left, and then you can patch up the holes again and again and again. This is why top students abuse the Zeigarnik effect with spaced repetition. We all know by now that spaced repetition is when you repeatedly review previously learned materials, but whilst adding increments of time in between them and increasing that time. It's proven by countless universities and studies that spaced repetition, having gaps in between your study sessions, is the best. And so when you actually have something else to do, studying a completely different subject, going to the gym, doing instruments, which is personally my favorite, you let yourself filter out what you've already learned and you've been reading in your textbook, and then you come back and you test how much you have remembered. And by repeating this is the best way to study. So make sure you try this next time. And the fourth thing is how top students remember everything they study. When I studied, I tended to view everything I learned as its own kind of nugget of information. So for example, if I learned a new topic today in biology, like protein synthesis, cool, I'll just add that to my memory and have it like that. So I'd have to memorize just more each and every time. And this makes sense intuitively, but I learned the hard way that this is actually really wrong and it's really inefficient. Because for a moment, just imagine you went to a bookstore and you had the goal to buy a Harry Potter book. If you've been in a bookstore before, you'll know how to find it. You'll literally just go up to the kids section, you search by surname until you get to R for Rowling, JK Rowling, and then you find the Harry Potter books there. But now I imagine that every single book was shuffled in that bookstore and there was no dividers and sections or no kid section. Would you still be able to find that book? Probably not. When you learn and you don't think about how that new piece of knowledge connects to other pieces of information, and you don't make analogies and you don't link to what you've learned already, it's the equivalent of putting a book in a massive library in a random place and then expecting your brain to be able to find that when it comes for revision. It might be this very fact that you're not thinking about how it links to other areas. So from now on, when you learn something, really think about how it links and try and think of an analogy for that very thing. Because an analogy in itself is describing something new with something you already know. For example, when learning about white blood cells, phagocytes and lymphocytes seem like a scary thing when you first learn about them, until you make an analogy in your mind that they're just like bodyguards. They're just protecting your body from viruses by puncturing the cells and literally quite acting like a bodyguard, right? Because you already have that schema, that thing, that image, and you know how a bodyguard works, phagocytes and lymphocytes are suddenly really easy. Buddying up information like this, linking it with another thing, makes it hard for you to forget. So when you make notes, literally just draw a little drawing or link it with something you already know. Doing it across subjects is really useful as well. For example, physics and maths, chemistry and biology, English and psychology. Interconnect everything and it will make it so that your revision takes less time and you'll also remember things for much longer. And I hope you found this video useful, because these are some of the tips that were pretty gatekept and not a lot of people know, but now you know that top students are doing this. And if you want to really take this to the next step, you really want to become a top student, you need to check out Student Accelerator, which is where I've been helping countless students, as you can see, get the results that they've always wanted to. And I won't spoil too much because you can find out more about how it all works with the first link in the description. But for ambitious students who want to reach their potential, which you know you can do, make sure to check that out. As always, I'll see you in the next video and good luck in any exams. Oh, bro.